Hey guys, Chris from Provo Beast Audio Installation, and in today's video we're going to be replacing the front speaker component set, both the mid-bass driver and the tweeter in the dash, in this 2018 Jeep Wrangler JK. Now in this install we're going to show you how to access the mid-bass speaker down below, as well as the tweeter up above to remove them. We'll head to the bench and show you the new parts we're going to use for the install, including those new speakers, brackets, and harness adapters, and we'll come back here to get everything installed. Let's get started. A couple of things to note before we get started. There are two different audio trim options available for this JK in this generation. Whether you have the bass audio trim or the upgraded Alpine factory amplified trim, that's going to dictate what speakers you're going to use for your application. In our case, we don't have the Alpine audio sound system, and we know that because generally there would be an Alpine logo on the tweeter grill, as well as a subwoofer in the cargo area. If you don't have either, then you don't have the factory amplifier, and it's really up to you what speakers you install in this application. If you do have the Alpine logo and you're planning on keeping the factory amplifier running, then you're going to have to be a little more conscientious of what speakers you put in those locations in order to be compatible with the OEM amp. We can make those notes and link them in the description if you have the Alpine audio sound system and want to keep that amp powering them. So the first thing we need to do is get these speakers out. Now, both sides are a little bit different. It's a little bit easier on the passenger side because we have a little more access to get the speaker box out to access the 6.5-inch speaker and the knee panel. On the driver's side, it's a little bit more complicated, but it's okay. We'll walk you through the process. Our first task is to get to this speaker down below. Now, fortunately, we can go ahead and actually pull this out, and that's going to give us a lot more space. There's a couple of 7mm bolts as well as a 10mm holding this in. We're going to get this panel out enough so we can pull the speaker box out from the opening from the glove box. First off is we're going to remove the side panel here. The first screw we're going to remove is this 7mm right here. Next, down below, there's going to be a 7mm on the corner of the panel. So that's going to start to allow this to flex a little bit. Now we're going to also get this one on the left-hand side just so there's less pressure on it. We don't want the panel to crack. There's some flexibility here. That might be just enough for us to get this box out. Move over to a ratchet. We're going to get these 7mm bolts. They're copper looking. The last one is a 10mm bolt. You have to access straight up holding the other side of the box. Okay, there it is. Our speaker box is free. There's going to be a harness connected to the back of it. Just disconnect it, and we're going to work it out. Okay, there's our speaker. Again, this side's not too bad. That 10mm bolt went through this little bracket, and again, two 7mm on this side. So we're going to take this over to the bench and swap out our mid-bass. Okay, so here at the bench now, the parts that we're using in today's install, first and foremost are the speakers, the component set, and this is the Stinger HC-65C, C is in component set, and this more or less has your mid-bass speaker, as well as the tweeter. Being a component set, the tweeter's not mounted in the mid-range, it's a separate speaker from the mid-range assembly, and it comes with some crossovers for both the mid-range as well as the tweeter, and it's going to fit in the factory locations. We're going to put the tweeter in the dash, and then we're going to put the mid-bass in our speaker box. Now, harnesses, in order to mount this up, we're going to need a couple of parts here. This one calls for the 726515 for the speaker pockets here. The 6514 is what we typically use for the tower speakers. If you use the 6514 up front, you might have your polarity reversed on your speakers. As for the tweeters, when we get to that, we need the 72-7902R, and these will make our tweeters plug and play. For the tweeter brackets, again, once we get to that, we're going to use these GM speaker brackets that actually work pretty well here. It's the Metro 82-3016. First thing we're going to do is we're going to disassemble this box so we can pull out the speaker. Then we'll get one of our mid basses mounted in this one. We got to make sure we add our woofer crossover, and we're going to get everything reassembled. I added a little bit of polyfill to the back of the box here. Just help with acoustics. Now it's really tempting to go ahead and hook your speakers up here to the harness, but these particular mid basses do require that we install a crossover because it's not on the basket already. Okay, those connect just like that. And then this end connects into the speaker. Okay, we got our harnesses all connected here. Let's plug it in. Now we don't want this to rattle around, so we're going to do our best to make sure it's all tight. Maybe add a zip tie in there. Alright, so we went ahead and mounted with the supplied screws. We just pre-drilled the holes, and there's our mid bass. Okay, same procedure here. Now, we don't want to damage our new speaker, so we're going to be very careful trying to get this in here. I'm going to start by trying to add the screws. Then we're going to thread our big 10mm nut. Okay, don't forget to reconnect your harness on the back of the speaker box. And now it's a good idea, test it. Make sure everything's working here before you put in the last 7mm screws. Alright, so we're done here. We'll wait to do the tweeter because we can do both the driver and the passenger side at the same time. Let's head over to the driver's side to work on that speaker box. Okay, so the driver's side, a little more complicated. Go ahead and start pulling off this panel here. Next, we're going to remove the two 10mm bolts holding on this plate. Same process, we're going to pop off the side panel. Same similar screw locations. We're going to have one here in the bottom corner. And the same 10mm bolt holding in the bottom of the speaker box. Now we pulled this plate off so we can kind of have a little bit more space. I'm going to remove this upper screw holding in the upper bezel. We also have to get in there to try to disconnect the harness off the back of the speaker. And you can do that on the right hand side. Alright, here we go. There's our speaker box. Not as bad, and it's certainly not as bad as the next generation Jeep, but we'll take this over to the bench and also swap this out real quick. Now to get the tweeter grill off for either side of the tweeter, the process is going to be identical. We just have a panel tool. We're just going to work up underneath. We're going to pop these clips, 2 clips on each side. Get that out of the way. And then it's held in with 2 7mm screws. Okay, with those 2 screws removed, pull out your speaker. Go ahead and press in the little tab on the harness. Speaker comes free. So, we'll take this over to the bench, show you how we're going to mock up our new bracket and tweeter and get it reinstalled in the same location. Right at the bench, so we have our tweeter harness adapter. We have our factory tweeter. we have our new tweeter, we have our tweeter bracket, and the crossover that just came with specifically this tweeter that we always have to install. Unless you run active and have a DSP, you gotta always install your crossover or you'll blow your speaker. So, first things first, wiring super easy. Input side connects into our harness adapter, just like that. Super simple. And then our tweeter connects into the tweeter side, just like that. We'll probably loom and zip tie this to make it nice and easy. But now we got to get this tweeter mounted in this bracket. Now you may have seen me use this on past installs, but I have kind of like a little template here that I've made over the years. And then this specific tweeter calls for 1 3/4 inch. It could be 1 5/8 inch, but I have 1 3/4 inch hole saw that we're going to cut our hole. Now there's a little input, little dimple that we'll use as a pilot. We're going to slowly cut this out. Alright, so we have our nice little hole, and we're going to glue it up from the back side. Now I'd like to use a little bit of hot glue. Okay, so we got that all glued up. We also loomed and zip tied our harness with our inline crossover. This will plug right on in. Now, we noticed too, with our tweeter, the bracket is a little long, so we'll just trim off ends here a little bit. And we may have to trim just a little bit with some flush cuts, but other than that, it's pretty much exactly where we want it. So at this point in time, let's head over to the car to get this installed. All right, first thing here, let's go ahead and plug in our tweeter. Once the harness is connected, we're just going to tuck everything right here into this little pocket. We may have this little tab that sticks up that'll help align the factory tweeter that's in the way for us. So we're just going to use some flush cuts, cut that off. I'm also going to trim just a little bit on this side, because it'll help the grill to clear and clip in. Alright, so our tweeters are now done, and our mid bases are now done. Everything's all reassembled. Let's go ahead and do a final test. Okay, that's it for our speaker install. Now, if you have any questions on what we did here, post a comment below. If you want to see how we did the tower speakers, we'll make sure we link that video in the description for you, along with other videos like this 10-inch Stinger display that we installed that fits perfectly in this JK, along with backup cameras, 4-channel amplifier, and a ton of other videos that we've done on this generation Jeep. That's about it. Thanks again for watching. Be sure to hit the like button if you liked what you saw. And don't forget to subscribe and post great content on the channel all the time. We'll see you in the next video.